Hi, this is Mark Olsey, author and creator of Pledge Talk. It is a how-to when it comes to having a healthy conflict conversation. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is possible to have a healthy conflict conversation rather than an argument. Learn more at pledgetalk.com. Hey, over the last couple of weeks, I've been reviewing what we learned from my last class in the community, the Pledge Talk Learning Community, a class on emotions entitled "When Overwhelmed: What to Do with the Thoughts and Feelings to Find to Get Yourself Back to Peace." What do we do? In the first class, I talked about the importance of taking time to reflect when we find ourselves anxious, angry, or depressed. Someone once said, wow, that was really helpful to understand that, because I've heard that when we're grieving, it's important to take time to process that emotion, but I didn't know I should take time to process other emotions. And I'm saying yes. So I'm saying take time to reflect when you find yourself feeling anxious, angry, or depressed, for instance. Again, whenever you find yourself feeling anxious, angry, or depressed, I want you to ask yourself, what have I been hoping would take place, but have been uncertain if it would, or found out that it just didn't or wouldn't? That's an important question, because that'll help you to process the anxiety, the anger, or depression. Asking yourself, what have I been hoping would take place that I've been uncertain whether or not it would, or it just doesn't? The second week, I talked about how it's important that we recognize that when we work to make certain things happen, or have expectations that things will take place, or we aim for goals that are not in our control, we have developed a misplaced hope. And I said a misplaced hope is something we've been counting on to happen in order for us to be okay or experience well-being. It's, for instance, me hoping certain things would happen that were never actually in my control. And because they didn't happen, I don't feel okay. But instead, I'm anxious, angry, or depressed. The third week of class, and what I want to review tonight, is how we must reframe our hopes or expectations or goals into desires. A wish, a desire, even a deep longing that something might take place, but still yet with the recognition that we aren't in control of bringing it about. Here's some examples. A minor example. You're on your way to work and you only have so much time to get there before you're late. You're hoping to catch the green lights and no trains, but instead you get one red light after another and you start feeling anxious. Will you make it on time or not? When you get the third red light, you hit the steering wheel in anger. Then when you see up ahead the flashing red light signaling a train is coming, you shake your head and you slump back in the seat, knowing it's no use. You're gonna be late and you're just down. Another example. I've been reflecting about how angry I get around a certain person. And I realized it's because I keep hoping they would act and speak differently than they do when I'm around them. And they just don't change. And so I get angry. A final example. Think of a couple struggling with a life-threatening illness. Imagine, or maybe you've already been there, imagine them going to the doctor and hearing bad news. There's nothing more we can do. They were hoping beyond hope for good news, but they got bad news. And they both leave completely undone. To process the emotions of anger, anxiety, and depression, you must not only reflect upon them and recognize where you have misplaced your hope, but you must then reframe that hope into a wish or a desire. Something perhaps that you really even deeply long will still happen, but you know you can't place your hope there because you're not in control of making it happen. So in the examples above, you were hoping that you would get to work on time and counting on it in order to feel good and have a good start to your day. But by reflecting on it, you recognize now that was a misplaced hope because you really weren't ultimately in control of the outcome. And so you need to reframe by saying to yourself, okay, it's a wish, it's a desire that I get to work on time, and I will work towards that end, but I'm not ultimately in control of that outcome. I must find another way to still be able to have a good day at work, whether or not I get there on time. Or with me being angry at this person. I've been hoping that this person would change and start acting and speaking nicer around me and others. But by reflecting on it, I came to recognize how it was a misplaced hope of mine because I was not in control of making that happen. And so I've had to reframe that in my mind by saying to myself, though I really wish this person would change the way they relate, I even strongly wish they would, I must keep in mind I can't make it happen. It's a desire, but not something I can count on for my sense of well-being. So I let go of a sense of demandingness even, that this must happen. I have to let that go. I have to reframe it in my mind as a desire, not a goal I can make happen. That is how I must reframe my thinking. My sense of well-being cannot be dependent upon how this person relates to me or others. Or finally, in the example of the couple struggling with a life-threatening illness. Again, they were so hoping to hear good news from the doctor, and it wasn't to be. And though there would certainly be some very deep disappointment they would wrestle with perhaps for weeks, even months, or even years to come, by reflecting on it, they could recognize they had a misplaced hope of where their sense of well-being was coming from. It would take time, it would take a process, I understand, but bottom line, ultimately, it's where they could come to. And because of recognizing they were not in control of the outcome, they could reframe that hope by changing what they thought and what they said to each other in a way that would sound something like this. We longed for a different report from the doctor. We really did. But we can't base our hope on a report, or even whether or not we live or die. We must base our hope on something different. By reframing in such a way that we see in each of these examples, we are processing our emotions. We are moving through them to be freed from them controlling us. They are real, they are strong, but we don't have to be consumed by them. Next Tune Up Tuesday, I will talk more about the reframing process by explaining where we can, in fact, place our hope. For now, this is Mark Olsey with Pledge Talk. To learn more, go either to pledgetalk.com or community.pledgetalk.com. See you next week.